first question stands in the name of the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement in the House yesterday that, quote, Mr Hyde has carried out his affairs in a personal private capacity to a high ethical standard, end quote?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, yes.
The Honourable Annette
Supplementary
King.
question, Mr Speaker. Does he think Rodney Hyde met the highest ethical standards when on a TV1 close-up program he encouraged New Zealanders to break the law relating to the Building Act by saying, look, as a minister I can't recommend someone breaking the law, but I believe he should, end quote?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I'm advised that he wasn't actually advocating breaking the law because it wasn't the law.
The Honourable Annette
question,
King.
Mr Speaker. Does he think a minister who tells an audience that the Prime Minister, John Key, doesn't do anything and suggests it was easy to ram proposals through Cabinet, as reported in the Christchurch press, demonstrated the highest ethical standards?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, any minister is going to have an opinion about how the Cabinet's run or how their colleagues perform, and Mr Hyde's no exception.
The Honourable Annette
Supplementary
King.
question. Does he think a minister endorsing a dental firm in breach of the Cabinet manual demonstrates the highest ethical standards?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, that's an assertion. The Prime Minister would expect any breach of the Cabinet manual to be brought to his attention.
Supplementary question,
Annette
Mr
King.
Speaker. Does he think a minister charging people to hear him speak on his portfolio demonstrates the highest ethical standards?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I think that issue has been discussed and dealt with in the past, but I have to say it is a bit rich. It is a bit rich being lectured by the Labor Party about ethical standards after their last term in office was a trail of ethical breaches, ministerial incompetence and untrustworthiness.
Supplementary question,
The
Mr
Honourable
Speaker.
Annette King.
Does he think a minister who's been accused of bullying another minister, as reported in numerous media outlets, shows the highest ethical behaviour?
Well, before I call the Minister, the level of interjection is getting too high there. It's starting to get difficult to hear the Honourable Annette King, but the Honourable Bill English in reply.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, if I was to receive an allegation of ministerial bullying, I think I would refer it to the Labor Party, who are experts in these matters.
Point of order. Order. A point of order has been called. Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, in a number of the answers that the Bill English has given, the Honourable Bill English has given today, he hasn't actually addressed the question. And that one, he immediately turned to talk about the Labor Party rather than answering the question that was asked.
I think that's a fair point. There was a lot of noise while the member was asking her question. I invite the Honourable Annette King to repeat her question.
To the Prime Minister, does he think a minister who's been accused of bullying another minister, as reported in numerous media outlets, shows good ethical behaviour?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, as I said, on behalf of the Prime Minister, if he did receive an allegation of ministerial bullying, one option would be to refer it to the Labor Party, who are experts in these matters.
Order. I accept that the question being asked was seeking an opinion, and there's no particular answer to an opinion, but I don't think the question justified an attack on the Labor Party like that. I invite the Minister to re-answer that question, because he can answer the question without attacking the questioner. Well, here the Honourable Dr. Nick Smith, speaking of the point of order.
How can it be proper for a member in a question to accuse a minister of bullying, but not proper for the minister in response to refer to many complaints of bullying by members of the opposition?
Order.
Isn't it a tit for tat in this House?
Order. This is not a game of tit for tat. It happens to be question time in Parliament. The member asking the question referred to reports, and the member doesn't need to think back far. We're former minister was reported as making such a claim. And the member has based her question on that. Now, admittedly, it's a supplementary question and it can't therefore be validated. But I don't believe the question justifies an attack on the Labour Party, because the question did not attack the National Party. The question just asked whether a certain behaviour was considered to be ethical behaviour, and I don't believe it deserves an attack on the questioner's party. Point of order, the Honourable John Carter.
Speaker, where we get to with these is because we're now into what are political issues, and you get to the stage where one party is asking another party a political question, and then the respondent, the minister in this case, is responding in a political way. And for example, the opposition have raised the issue of bullying or accusations of bullying by a minister against another, in the same way as the minister may well have been referring to the fact that in their party they accused one of their members of being mentally unwell. And that, again, is a form of bullying.
Order.
Well,
Order.
Mr. Speaker,
I've listened to the member long enough. The question was not out of order. Members may not like the question. But I can think of many times I've asked questions in this House where certain members didn't like the question I was asking. It doesn't mean to say that they should be treated with contempt, because no attempt was made to answer the question. If I accept there's no precise answer, but simply to attack the opposition is not, to attack the party of the questioner is not good enough, because I stress again, the questioner did not attack the minister's party. The question did not in any way make any attack on the National Party with respect to anything at all. Just asked whether certain behaviour would be considered ethical. Now, accept it's hypothetical, it's opinion, there's no precise answer, but to attack the questioner's party with that kind of question is not acceptable. The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, as far as I'm aware, the Prime Minister hasn't received any substantiated complaint of that nature.
The Honourable Annette King.
Speaker, does he think Mr Hyde using taxpayers' money to take his girlfriend on a round-the-world trip and attend her brother's wedding after he campaigned, after...
Order.
I'll start again if you like, Mr Speaker.
The member will just continue.
After he had campaigned against such behaviour, demonstrated the highest ethical standards.
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, it is the style of this government that ministers deal with the consequences of any decisions they make, and that matter has been aired publicly. I can assure the House, though, that when MPs make judgments that get them in trouble, we don't accuse them of being mentally ill, as is the habit of the Labour Party.
Question number 2, Todd McClay. Point of order, Chris Hipkins.
Mr Speaker, I waited till the end of question 1 in the hope that the situation would improve.
Order. Point of order has been called.
I'm only sitting...
Order. The Attorney-General will respect that.
I'm only sitting 2 rows directly behind Annette King, and those of us in the back row can barely hear what's going on today. I waited for the duration of question 1, hoping the situation would improve. We couldn't hear what John Carter was saying when he was speaking to the point of order. We couldn't hear what the clerk was saying when she read out the items of business at the very beginning. I'm wondering whether the volume could even be turned up a little bit. We seem to go from one extreme to the other. Some weeks it's incredibly loud and you can't even hear yourself think. Other days, such as today, we can barely hear what's going on.
Order. The member's point is well made, and I apologise to the House. I'm equally frustrated. I cannot understand why the technicians cannot achieve a standard level of sound in this chamber. All I can say to give some hope to members is that the technician or the experts who installed this, and the sound has improved, I think, while I've been talking. The experts who installed this hugely expensive sound system are coming back during this recess to do further work on it to try and improve the quality. But I still, as Speaker, state publicly I'm not happy with just the day-to-day variation in the levels that we're subjected to in the House. The members are absolutely right. I find it equally frustrating, and I apologise to all members for that, but I think the sound has improved. It is better now indeed. Question